Have you recently, online or in face-to-face conversations, had an experience where you were skeptical of President Biden for his Gaza policies and where you might have said, I'm not voting for him, and you got several defensive responses from mostly Democrats? Let's explore it a little bit. So what I've noticed in my own experience is that every time I've posted, let's say on Threads or on Facebook, that I'm not likely to vote for Biden or I'm not going to vote for Biden, I get attacked immediately. So the first line of attack is, so do you want Trump instead? He will be worse for Muslims and Arabs. Cool. I mean, chances are I probably know that. But not voting for Biden for us, people like me who are committed to Gaza and the Palestinian people and their lives, isn't about Trump. It's about we saying that as a constituency, as a group of people who are voters in the United States, we have consistently asked you to do more, to not supply bombs and modes of destruction to Israel, and to not lie about what Israel is doing in Gaza as well as in other Palestinian territories. Now, I voted for Biden. I've always voted for Democratic candidates. Now, if I vote for him in this coming election, what it requires me to do is to forget that he didn't listen to us, that he has not done enough to save Palestinian lives, and that his Department of State literally lied in the report that they furnished to the Senate, in which they certified that Israel had not used U.S. weapons in contravention of international human rights laws, a claim that is contested by Amnesty International and United Nations. But I am still asked to vote for this party and this president because otherwise Trump will become president. Now, here is my problem with this argument. One, if I decide to vote against Biden, it is based in principles, and the principle simply is that he didn't live up to my personal expectations as a president. It's more of a moral decision for me and less of a political decision. But another important thing to keep in mind in this argument against us, or attacks against people like us, is that if you think that me and people like me in Michigan and elsewhere, if we didn't vote for Biden, if the progressive Democrats didn't vote for Biden, you will lose the presidency, right? That's what that argument boils down to. So that means we are a very important constituency for the Biden campaign. If we are that important to your campaign, that the future of Biden's second term depends on how we vote, then why don't you listen to us? I mean, your people did their math and probably told you that it's okay, you can dismiss the progressives, you can sideline them, just do perfunctory things here and there, build up here, spent $350 million on a thing that was absolutely not needed if you were able to convince the Israelis to let the aid in. And your advisors basically said, just do these perfunctory things, nothing substantial, and maybe you can lure these people back, but maybe the math says, well, even if you lose these people, you still win. And if that's the scenario, then it shouldn't matter to anyone in the Democratic Party how we vote. But if it matters, then of course that means we are an important constituency. And if that's the case, then listen to us. There's another thing that is being said, especially on threads. People said it about Rashida Tlaib. They called her a traitor. For what? For basically saying, I'll not be voting for Biden. Rashida Tlaib has her own constituency. She knows her constituents. She is a progressive member of the Democratic Party. She didn't sign an oath of allegiance to President Biden. I didn't sign an oath of allegiance to President Biden. And just like I have a right to choose where I vote without being called a traitor, she absolutely has the right to vote the way she wants. She is being heavily primaried, right? Her opponents will be very well funded by AIPAC and other constituencies. And she knows that. I mean, people who ask us these questions, what about Trump? I guess part of the assumption is that maybe people like me, looking like me, we're too naive. We don't understand how American politics works. I mean, we do. The point is, with what is happening and what has happened in Gaza, with millions of people being starved, the brutalities which are recorded, sometimes self-reported by the Israeli soldiers, against the Palestinian people, which are being committed and were committed, we have a right to point to those and say this is morally wrong, and this is wrong under international law. The United States needs to take a stand. Otherwise, what is this world leadership all about anyway? Now, some people also argue that Biden is not the president of Israel and Netanyahu is the prime minister, and so he cannot do much. Why not? I mean, we are sending $15 billion worth of arms to State of Israel. We give them $3 billion per year. As Graham Chomsky once said, if you pay so much to a nation, you ought to have some leverage over it. So you basically want me to believe that a nation state in whom we have invested so heavily and which depends on our support, when it's time to talk to their government and say, listen to us, they can simply choose to ignore the President of the United States. And there are tools in the presidential arsenal, not even required to be vetted by the Senate or the House of Representatives. Just by executive action, Biden can literally stop the sale of arms to the State of Israel. So just wanted to say, people like us, we are not naive, we are not ill-informed, we are not even speaking emotionally. As far as I am concerned, what has happened in Gaza and what is happening in Gaza is a genocide. It's a destruction of a people. And then what is happening in West Bank, the ouster of Palestinian farmers, the taking of their lands, the building of new settlements against an occupied people, that is also against international law, against UN resolutions, against international court verdicts. So where do we draw a line? Why cannot we openly say, yes, the State of Israel has a right to exist in peace. Maybe we can convince all Palestinians to agree to that. But at the same time, they do not have the right to obliterate, erase, dispossess, and destroy the Palestinian people. That's not a very hard moral choice to make. It might be a hard political decision, but not a hard moral decision. So these are some of my thoughts, basically sharing with you, because I do get attacked And people just assume that simply because I am deciding not to vote for Biden, I am somehow pro-Trump. No, that's not the case. It's just a question of morally thinking about Gaza, thinking about the Palestinian people, and seeing if President Biden, for whom I voted, has lived up to our hopes and expectations. And if he has not, despite our efforts collected, then he doesn't deserve our vote. That's what it boils down to. So let me know what you think. Obviously, of course, this may not appeal to all of you, but I thought I should share these thoughts with you because a lot goes on in our lives when we put our words out in public. And yes, we get a lot of support, but we also get a lot of attacks. So please share your thoughts and your ideas. I'll be really grateful for that. But other than that, I hope you're all fine. Stay safe. Take care of each other. And I will now see you next time. Until then, as always, peace and love.